this game, because especially with Shukaberry on Lucario, it kind of looks like a rough matchup for a lot of what Esam might want to do.
We get the Arcanine and Togekiss lead from Esam, able to pressure with some Intimidate there, going into that Lucario, dropping its stage immediately down 1, and offering the pressure of redirection to take away the beat-up strategy. A lot of Togekiss will carry something like a Babiri Berry, and we did already see that in that set before. So Alpharad might not be able to even get this Togekiss knocked out and be able to prevent any type of fire attack going into his Lucario. So he might have to readjust his board position. It's going to be on Esam to have to figure out if that's how he adjusts to that. We do see the Follow Me coming out from Togekiss. Whimsicott able to go for a Moonblast, get a little bit of chip onto that Togekiss, probably be around 25.
Yeah.
And Meteor Mash coming out from Lucario. Not boosted, and by Berry Berry, I doubt this will get the knockout.
Probably not.
Critical hit.
I'm really surprised that Lucario actually was faster than Arcanine. Unless I'm much mistaken, I think Arcanine actually is a few points faster, naturally. And now, Lucario is kind of useless for the rest of this game, frankly, because of the Will-O-Wisp cutting its physical attack in half. This is a good time to have physical attackers on your side of the field. Or I guess this is a good time to have a Pokemon like Arcanine, I should say, on your side of the field with, you know, kind of 2 open targets to Flamethrower, and Whimsicott doesn't even have the Focus Sash. So, pretty good turn 1 from if you're Esam there, I think. Even though Follow Me, like, wasn't necessarily needed because you were probably doubled up into anyway, I really like that he went for it anyway. I think that was just like a good, safe coverage move.
I'm happy to see that, you know, even though Esam didn't lead the Trick Room immediately, that maybe electing not even to bring it. Alpharad didn't go for an immediate Dynamax.
I like that as well.
On his Lucario, because he has the ability to, you know, save the Dynamax for something that'll be more valuable, possibly get all 3 turns at max attack to get the attacks off, and, you know, possibly pave the way for preventing a Trick Room from going up by getting rid of the Togekiss first.
Absolutely. Yeah, Togekiss will be able to take 1 more combination of Moonblast and Meteor Mash, but it will put it in range of another Moonblast or Bullet Punch most likely. Special attack drop doesn't matter too much here. A Meteor Mash crit would also seal the deal. I don't think this will KO based on how much the first one did, but it's going to be close. Yeah, it is close, but not enough. No attack boost there. Meteor Mash does have a chance to raise attack. Lucario actually is the target there, so I'm not crazy about that play, but I guess I wouldn't have expected Flamethrower to kill, personally. I think something that might have been a little bit more threatening there would is if you like on the one hand, I feel like you kind of waste a turn going for Flamethrower. Turn 1 when you could have just, I guess, as we saw there, or going for Will-O-Wisp turn 1, excuse me, when you could have just gone for a Flamethrower. But man, Will-O-Wisp is just looking so good here.
Now, it's really great that he was able to get Mudsdale in here, but one of the biggest challenges that Mudsdale faces as a Pokemon in general is the ability for it to get burned so easily. And we know it's already an Assault Vest, so it has no way to prevent that from staying on it. And we don't know that the Whimsicott might have something like Taunt to prevent a burn.
Right.
But, you know, going into Mudsdale, he has pressure from Arcanine's Will-O-Wisp. We're going to have to see Alpharad maybe make, you know, a big hard read that he's not going to get burned this turn, or maybe use it as a bait to switch right back out.
Absolutely.
Togekiss going to go for the Follow Me there, going to redirect the possible Moonblast or Taunt. We end up seeing the Moonblast going to Togekiss. That will be the end of Togekiss.
Togekiss has just been such, like, really doing so much for Esam. Eric is Esam, by the way, in case anyone wasn't clear on that one. Will-O-Wisp can miss, but it does not miss here, and I don't know. I feel like if you're Esam, you're not really upset about this at all. You've already taken out one of Alpharad's Pokemon, and one of the other main ones is burned. So frankly, you're not in bad shape at all, in my opinion. And Snorlax is going to be really hard to remove with these Pokemon, in my opinion. However, Justin, did you notice something about Whimsicott? Can you tell me how much health it has?
It is at full health.
So let's just say, for example, you had like an item on Whimsicott that was like activated when you took damage. Would that item still be intact, would you say?
Yes, it would be.
So what if you had a Pokemon like Snorlax that really like wanted this item and like really did not want to switch out? Would that be like would it be a bad thing to switch items at that point?
Why, yes, I think it would be quite the bad thing.
Oh, what if you considered like Dynamaxing? Would that also be like maybe not the best thing?
It depends. I don't think a Snorlax is going to immediately Dynamax in front of a Whimsicott.
Right. Well, only time will tell. 10 seconds left for Esam to choose his move. He's backing out. But yeah, basically the eject button here I think could be really huge. He actually goes for G-Max. Oh, he times out. He goes for Body Slam. Switcheroo does come out into the Snorlax. So fortunately for Esam, he does not Dynamax there. Yeah, I don't think he was prepared for that one at all. But fortunately for Esam, he does not Dynamax. So, honestly, Timer might have saved him there. He might have Dynamaxed if that had happened. So if that had happened, Snorlax would obviously have been forced out and not been able to use his Dynamax at all. But he does get a little bit of a good break there.
Yeah. I like that he was able to get some damage down to the Arcanine. Even though the burn is threatening, repositioning might have ended up hurting Alpharad a little bit more. Instead of just sitting there and gradually chipping away at things and then, setting up for a later game sweep.
I think that play was really good. Like, even though Snorlax didn't Dynamax, Snorlax now cannot use Belly Drum for the rest of the game, and it has no recovery. So that really decreases its damage potential significantly. And yeah, overall, I think it was a really good move, and I really agree with that play from Alpharad. Even though it didn't Dynamax, you still got a lot of mileage out of it. You cannot allow Snorlax in front of two Pokemon that cannot do damage. You can't let Snorlax start setting up, and yeah, I mean Moonblast, like putting things in range. If I know Alpharad, if I could guess, Alpharad, what he's thinking right now, I think there's a good chance he has Dracovish in the back, and Dracovish is a Pokemon that, even though his other two Pokemon can't really do any damage, nothing on this field really takes Fish's Rend well. So if you get a little bit of damage on the Gourgeist, you go for a Moonblast, you go for a Rock Slide. I think it's definitely going to be in range of Dracovish. So we actually do see the Dynamax coming out. So that does answer the question. I believe it's probably Arcanine here, if I had to guess, because Arcanine is actually. Oh, never mind. It's Mudsdale. Right, that would make some sense. I actually like that play. Getting Mudsdale like boosted right now. Even though you are burned, you still like single target Max Quake will do a decent chunk of damage to Arcanine, who we know doesn't have Citrus Berry either. Tailwind comes out, so this is a bad time for Trick Room to be go up, but a good time for pretty much everything else. Flamethrower comes out. You think this will KO?
No.
Yeah, I definitely didn't. I didn't think so. Yeah.
Whimsicott, guaranteed better than Lucario.
Whimsicott's definitely better than Lucario. I'm surprised that even Lucario went down. Max Quake comes out into Arcanine. I think this will KO, actually. Yeah, it actually drops. So this game is not over. You have somewhat healthy Whimsicott. Crit might have mattered.
We've seen so many crits already.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, crit might have mattered. I thought it would go down either way, but it depends on how it's trained. And Trick Room does go up, so we seem to have a habit of people tailwinding with their Whimsicott in front of Trick Room Pokemon. Esam does still have his Dynamax available. Alpharad is boosted physically defense +1, special defense +1. Whimsicott is +1 special defense. Tailwind is up. Snorlax has no item. Whimsicott has no item. Mudsdale has the Assault Vest. That's the position. What do you think, Justin?
I think that it's going to be really tricky. Without a berry, Snorlax is unable to, as you said earlier, has no access to recovery. I think that the game plan is going to have to be getting rid of everything but the Mudsdale.
Yeah.
And then maybe winning on time, or maybe winning by, just hacking away at it towards the end game. But the Mudsdale also still has the ability to go for something like a Max Knuckle.
Yeah.
And in combination with Stamina, it might actually be able to still maintain a decent attack stat, which could spell out really poorly for the end game here. Stamina will go off. Trick or Treat and Darkest Lariat hitting the Mudsdale, and we do see that Max Knuckle, in fact, go into the Snorlax. Going to do about 25% damage. I don't know if Esam is waiting for the optimal time to get a Dynamax off, or if possibly, saving a chance for a possible Belly Drum setup or later.
I think what he might have done there is, I thought he's going to beat up his own Mudsdale. This only hit twice.
Me too.
So what I think Esam was thinking there is that Darkest Lariat actually ignores the defense boost that Mudsdale has accrued. So that's probably why he didn't Dynamax there. Because it might have actually been stronger than, like, regular Darkest Lariat might have been stronger than Z Darkest Lariat or Max Darkness, for the reason that Darkest Lariat ignores defense boost. However, I think he's doing a really good job chipping away at Mudsdale, and Mudsdale just frankly, like, look at how much damage Esam took this turn. Like, Snorlax even had a little bit of chip before this, and it's just not taking any damage. So I think if you're Esam, Esam's going for Belly Drum, it looks like. I think if you're Esam, you win this one by by just like out damaging. And if you're Alpharad, I think you have to hope your last Pokemon is Dracovish and you bring it in when Trick Room ends and you get 2 KOs quickly. Seed Bomb comes out, no Dynamax. Okay, that's a critical hit. That's a huge critical hit. Yeah, that one actually matters a lot. Because I do not think that now that Darkest Lair would have KO'd before, and it definitely will now. Although that's the downside. But on the upside, you wouldn't have done that much damage, but you would have saved Gourgeist for another turn, or you would have saved your last Pokemon, presumably Dracovish, for one more turn. You know, if the last Pokemon is Dragapult, you could actually not be in terrible shape here.
Yeah, I do think that Alpharad still has a chance to win this game.
100%.
That critical hit actually does really matter. He was unable to keep his Mudsdale alive and get the attack boost too.
Pestragon.
The German one.
The German one.
It's German, right?
Yep.
German fish.
How many turns of Trick Room are left? Do you know?
I think 2.
2? Okay, so he basically needs to... Yeah, I think Mudsdale going down there is the critical hit is pretty bad there, because basically if Dracovish is able to come in at the end of Trick Room, it can probably win the game. But if it comes in while Trick Room is still up, like I mentioned, Fishious Wren does double damage. Fishious Wren does double damage only if it's moving first, and in Trick Room it will not be moving first. So Alpharad and his partner Pokemon Dracovish, he's putting it all on the line here. He's got faith in the Dracovish, but I'm not sure it will be enough with Esam still having wisely saved his Dynamax till the end. And I really like that that's something Esam is doing. He seems to be saving his Dynamax, not just opening with it and waiting for when the opponent runs out of their Dynamax and then going for his. We'll have to see, though. I mean, it's Dracovish, so there's always a chance.
Esam gonna pop out the G-Max Snorlax Terrain Belly over there. Gonna be able to fire off a pretty strong attack. Hopefully to take out the Dracovish before it ever has a chance to do anything. We do think it can go either way in a situation like this. But, you know, Seed Bomb and possibly a G-Max Replenish gonna target down the Dracovish and might knock it out.
I think there's a pretty good chance it knocks it out.
It lived!
What?
Esam!
Thank you, Mr. Fish!
The KO.
Oh my god, even at half damage, it still does so much! 3 minutes left on the timer. This is the first time timers come into play. If Trick Room ends this turn... Oh no, 1 turn left of Trick Room! And I think that's probably gonna be it. One thing we have to, one thing I just would like to shout out. Shout out to all our players for having Dynamax candy. I always forget. So it's good to see yeah. As we guessed, I think this Dracovish is actually Choice Band, and so because of the Choice Band, it's not able to protect here, so this pretty much will be the end. I don't think Whimsicott has Protect on this team. So this is probably going to be tough, this is probably going to be, I think Esam will probably win this game 1, if I had to call it right now, but this was really close, and again, that crit on Mudsdale really mattered, because if Dracovish was still alive this turn, which is what would have happened, and Trick Room was over, he now gets a free KO on either Pokemon, and that could really, really do it. So, I think, oh, poor Alpharad. He's having a hard time. But hey, I mean, this is what happened. This is what happened last set. You know, he lost the game 1, and then he brought it back, and this was much closer than last time. So, we'll have to see. That's the end of Dracovish. Snorlax going for G-Max Replenish, and that will be game 1 in Esam's favor. So, very good set, I think. What do you think of that game? Or very good game, I should say. What do you think of that one, Justin?
That was a great game. I actually really enjoyed watching it. I think that both players kind of played a little bit conservatively, which I think ended up working a little bit more in Esam's favor because Snorlax is definitely better at the long game sometimes.
I agree.
The switcheroo definitely had pressure. There's no Psychic Terrain to block it this time around, and I think that if Alpharad can, find a really pivotal turn where he can get something like a Dynamax Mon off the field, it could be really big for a momentum swing. I think that Alpharad definitely needs to play a little bit around the Arcanine. It felt like it offered a lot of pressure. It burned everything that it needed to.
Yeah, I think the Arcanine was probably the MVP, but yeah, go on, sorry.
Yeah, and it kind of like the unsung hero in a lot of ways in that, it just threw out some Will-O-Wisps and then it got knocked out. But those Will-O-Wisps are really huge. It set up for Snorlax so that it could, tank some hits a little bit easier and not have to worry about everything. And, I really like the way that Esam played like a later Trick Room rather than a direct Trick Room. Getting the the maximum value from his Snorlax turns and not having to try and bully his way through like a Mudsdale. I feel like both players kind of tried to do that where they set up a better end game, and I'm as a experienced VGC player, I'm really happy to see that. It's something that's a little bit more advanced, and both of these players really sticking to it. Great coaching, great execution there from them. And,
Mm-hmm.
in the adjustment, I don't think that, Esam did anything wrong in that game. I think he can definitely try and stick to it. Now he knows about the switcheroo tech. So
Yeah, the switcheroo was really, really big there, I think. Yeah, I think
it's gonna be on Esam, to kind of close this one out. I think that, the ball's in his court. It's, once he's in, we think he wins this, he's out of his pool already, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the winner of this moves it on to top 4. So yeah, but the other thing is, you just mentioned like talking about how Esam really wants to close it out here. I think if there's one thing we can learn from the last set with M2K and Alpharad is that you don't want to give Alpharad time. The longer he plays, the more he understands your team. Like, he makes really fast adjustments. And so I think something that Esam does, I think one of the differences that we saw between Esam's first set and Mewtwo King's first set is that Esam adjusted every game, whereas Mewtwo King did the same thing. So I'm not sure if Alpharad was adjusting to Mewtwo King overall, or just what he was doing, like, except that, or just that one game plan. But I think you really, like, if you were Alpharad, you really want to try and close this one out. Or if you're Esam, you really want to close this one out, because I don't feel like Alpharad's someone you want to, like, give a ton of time to, like, let adjust.
Yeah, definitely, and that's some good analysis there. We're going into this next game. I feel like the way that these teams match up against each other doesn't necessarily feel like if you lead wrong, you lose immediately.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these Dynamax games can feel like that. Both teams a little bit more focused on setting up and then doing their damage. And right now, they don't really have optimal ways to do that immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But we are going to see a Dracovish Whimsicott lead from Alpharad and a Pikachu Arcanine. Esam busting out the Pikachu. There's no lightning loops in this game, guys, so I don't know how much work it's going to be able to do. But the Intimidate dropping that Dracovish's attack, albeit not that much attack for it to go down, it still hits like a truck.
Both Pokemon will still get OHKO'd here, and that's actually something that I think is really interesting here, is that Tailwind plus Vicious Rend will KO either Pokemon. So he can either take out what's probably the Gigantamax Pokemon, Pikachu, or he can take out Arcanine so he doesn't get burned. But Esam is kind of in a weird spot here, where he kind of wants to go for status on both Pokemon, right? He wants to get the Paralysis, and he wants to get the burn off on Dracovish. So he's kind of in a weird spot. Honestly, if I was in this position, you can make a read and try and protect one of your Pokemon, or you can just go for double status and just say, hey, one of these guys is going to be able to attack. I will say the Alpharad needs to go for the Tailwind this turn in order for this to work. Oh, no! Wait, I gotta mute my stream. Hang on. How do I do this?
Pikachu coming out here, going to be able to go for the G-Max. Not going to make any audio cues.
Nope, no audio, guys. Please don't report my stream. Switcheroo comes out.
No.
Yes, no, that's so good. The light ball. Well, I think I would have rather seen Tailwind, but yeah, like with the Volt Crash, that would have KO'd. But because Alpharad took away the light ball, it cuts Pikachu's attack effectively in half, or attack and special attack, I should say. Man, that move is so good, paralyzing both Pokemon. I will say that if Dracovish gets paralyzed here, it's going to be very, very bad for. Oh, that was
Dracovish.
It would have just OHKO'd with Tailwind.
It gets the Pikachu out.
That was Intimidated, and it was Gigantamax Pikachu, and it was moving second, and it's still nearly KO'd. 1 HP, Focus Sash Pikachu.
Oh.
Wow.
Holy cow. I can't believe it lived that.
I can believe it. It was Gigantamax, and it was Intimidated, and it was half power. I can't believe it did that much to Gigantamax Pikachu.
It survives at 2, actually, right?
Yeah, but then when it switched out, it had 1, which is cool.
Oh, was it 1 really? Oh,
it was 2, and then when it switched, you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I mean, there's no trick room in this game. It seems like. So this is not this is interesting. I'm not entirely sure how this one will go. The thing is, you're really playing with fire when it comes to paralysis. Like, a paralysis on Whimsicott's Tailwind would spell the KO for both Pokemon, and paralysis on Dracovish would also be kind of bad here. It depends a lot on what Alfred has in the back. He seems to be favoring that Mudsdale. Unlike last game, where Esam saved his Dynamax till the end and Alfred used it a bit early, or not early, but earlier at the very least, this game is very different. This game, Esam is already all out of Dynamax. That's, as I mentioned, really bad. He'll lose both his Pokemon now. Yeah.
Esam getting the para there is huge. He's going to be able to get a Dazzling Gleam off and knock out both Pokemon.
Yeah. Oh, could even get a critical hit because he's probably Super Luck. Critical hit, yep, that's Super Luck for you. That one didn't matter, guys. Critical hit, Dracovish wasn't surviving that anyway. Yeah, I really like, by the way, that when Dragovich faints, his eyes turn to like little X's.
Yeah.
You notice that?
Yeah.
So it's technically it's 4-2, but Alpharad still has his Dynamax available. Lucario. I think Dragapult would be a lot better to see here than Mudsdale, but it is Mudsdale. So this is going to be really difficult to win. I think Arcanine being able to burn these Pokemon and having Excadrill in the back, it's going to be really hard. I think for Alpharad to win this one. It's not over necessarily. I'm never counting Alpharad out, especially after the last set. But if you're Esam, you've got to be feeling really good about this position. We also saw that he actually has access to Yawn as well, which is huge.
Yawn being able to put Pokemon to sleep on the second turn if they stay in,
and
giving it a drowsy status.
Can no longer switch. So, Luxury Ball comes out right now. Let's see what it goes for. Mudsdale, you think?
No, it was. Yeah, I remember the Luxury Ball.
Okay. Luxury Ball, Mudsdale, Dynamax thing. I mean, Mudsdale got hit with a Yawn here. So here's the thing. Let's say Lucario protects his turn, takes a Will-O-Wisp, or let's say Will-O-Wisp misses, which is even better. You're able to, like, okay, if Will-O-Wisp misses, this is not over because High Horsepower or Max Quake will probably KO the Arcanine. Meteor Mash next turn could KO the Togekiss, maybe with a high roll. But unfortunately, Will-O-Wisp connects, and that's probably going to spell defeat for Alpharad.
Togekiss gonna get the Yawn off into that Mudsdale.
Esam yawning in real life, making sure everyone knows how he feels. And Rockfall actually comes out. Interesting. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, we'll be able to provide a couple more extra chip turns.
Yeah, but it will also boost that Excadrill in the back, presuming it's Sandrush.
Possibly.
Yeah.
He might be predicting that he's not gonna have it, and maybe have something like Snorlax.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, but this one is pretty much probably over for Alpharad. He still has a chance of moving on in the tournament, though. This is definitely not over.
I think that once again we're seeing like the impact of Arcanine kind of having a little bit of a stranglehold on Alpharad's team with Intimidate and the burns here. All this status really giving Esam a great chance to just stay in control of these games. Togekiss gonna go for the Follow Me, redirect a possible Max Quake, but I'm gonna take the Meteor Mash and the the burn Lucario with Babiri Berry.
Not gonna do enough.
Not gonna do enough, and my bad. The Berry's already burned, but the Arcanine able to go for the Flamethrower here, and as we saw last time, the Flamethrower got the knockout in Lucario.
Gets it again.
Going to be able to knock out the Lucario again.
Yeah. So a bit of a rough thing, as you mentioned. I really like the use of both Togekiss and Arcanine by Esam in this set. I think they did really well as support Pokemon, and even though like Togekiss and Arcanine aren't known for having a ton of like offensive presence, I think just by virtue of the team, it was a good call. It was a really good call. We do see Arcanine actually kind of add some insult to injury and heal back up here. And actually something I just realized, Justin, something really cool about the sand is that now, even though he fell asleep, he can actually KO Pikachu with sand, which is neat. But yeah, I mean, wait a second, this actually isn't over. This actually isn't over because Pikachu will die to sand, and Excadrill does. I forgot that he doesn't have Dynamax active, and Pikachu will get KO'd this turn thanks to sand. So it's theoretically possible actually for Mudsdale to win this. It still has one turn left of Dynamax. Pikachu will get KO'd. I mean, Grass Knot is strong, sure. But it's not. I mean, it's still Dynamax Mudsdale.
Yeah, but one thing that he has the ability to do is boost his possible stats against his Mudsdale. Mudsdale, if he could pivot in Arcanine in and around and drop Intimidates, and when it wakes up, even burn it. We're gonna see the Arcanine actually switch out here, going to the Excadrill.
He's going for most likely that weakness policy Surf. Gonna activate it himself. And it actually is Mold Breaker, so it doesn't get the sand boost. And actually, the Surf would do a ton of damage to the Excadrill, except for the fact that Light Ball was removed. So, +2 on Excadrill, +1 on Mudsdale, and you're totally right, Justin, about what you were saying about the burn and the Intimidate. However, something that we have to note here is that Body Press does not activate on the physical attack stats. So, I think there is one way for Alpharad to win this, one clear way, in my opinion, for Alpharad to win this. It is he wakes up turn 1 and body presses for the KO on the Excadrill. And
yeah, after the Dynamax.
Yeah, Dynamax ends this turn, so neither player has Dynamax left anymore.
Yeah, and he'll be able to get, if he can wake up and get the body press off into the Excadrill, he might be able to win 1v1 versus that Arcanine.
Yeah,
the only
it doesn't have
thing
an
is
item.
he's gonna have to be able to do enough damage and possibly, you know, keep it asleep. I actually feel like Alpharad, you know, staying in control here with this Mudsdale pick, gonna do a massive amount of damage with the Iron Head because of the weakness policy.
He needs a one-turn sleep for sure. It actually might make more sense actually to KO the Arcanine. Let's see. Flamethrower needs to not do. Flamethrower does nothing. If Mudsdale gets a one-turn sleep here and gets a body press off, he was so close. Sorry,
yeah, that's unfortunate.
I got caught up. Yeah, I think he would have won. I think. Flamethrower was doing nothing. He's at +3 defense. Mudsdale would have won this game. So that's how it works sometimes. Sleep is kind of volatile. It's normally in the favor of the person who's putting the opponent to sleep rather than the sleeping Pokemon. But I mean, if you're Alpharad, you can't be too upset about that. You had effectively a 1 in 3 chance to win the game. So I don't know. You can't be too upset. And Mudsdale's really doing its best for Alpharad, but yeah, unfortunately, it's not enough. And Esam is our first player to advance out of his pool and into top 4. So Esam is guaranteed top 4 at the very least. Congratulations. And Alpharad's still in the tournament as well. He'll play the winner of Mewtwo and Zane, whereas Mewtwo and Zane, which are our next match, will be an elimination match actually. So that's quite exciting.